Just down the road from Montgomery College in the heart of Washington, D.C., stands the National Gallery of Art. Within these walls lies the stories of female artists whose work has transcended time, challenged societal norms, and left an undeniable mark on the art world. The Divine Feminine, an exploration of women who shaped art history, will be highlighting 4 masterpieces, each created by women who, against the odds of her time, crafted a legacy that shaped the way we understand art today.
Starting all the way back in the 16th century, our first piece today is one which perfectly captures the importance of female creatives within society.
Made in 1590, this exquisite portrait depicts the 16th century musician Lucia Bonsani Yerzoni. It was created by Lavinia Fontana, the most renowned female artist of the late 16th century. This portrait is among Fontana's best preserved and most accomplished works in the Mannerist style. The ornate detailing throughout the piece depicts Garzoni as a highly successful and wealthy member of society at the time. From her elegant and detailed gown to the delicate jewelry and the lute and sheet music on the table behind her, it is clear that Fontana held Garzoni in high esteem, as did many others.
This painting tells the story of 2 accomplished women who were able to succeed in patriarchal society in each of their artistic spheres. Lavinia Fontana is often regarded as the first female in Western Europe to make art her career. She relied entirely on commissions for her income, and after she was married, her husband Gian Paolo Zappi became her business manager. With enough clients across Italy and beyond, Fontana was eventually able to solely support their family of 11 children. Fontana's legacy as a portraiture artist lived long after she did. She paved the way for a new generation of female artists to emerge in Europe, and many women went on to see the same success that she did.
Jumping ahead in time just a bit to the 17th century, a period of time where breaking the traditional rules of art became increasingly popular. During this era, we see the emergence of Baroque art, a style which featured a more prevalent sense of movement and lighting in the composition of pieces. One of the most recognized names during this era is Judith Leister. Let's take a look.
Judith Leister's self-portrait, made in 1630, is one of the most famous works of art and an important piece in the history of women in art. Painted at a time when female artists were rare and often overlooked, this painting serves as a bold statement of her talents and professionalism. Here, Leister is shown at work, holding a paintbrush in one hand and a palette in the other. She has a relaxed but confident expression on her face and depicts herself in her studio environment with her work in progress on display. This is her way of demonstrating to others not just her skill, but her active participation in the art world.
Leister's self-portrait is significant because it was rare for female artists to publicly assert their presence in such a direct manner during this time. By portraying herself as a skilled and serious artist, Leister challenged the typical representation of women in art. Up until this point, women were often depicted as muses or passive figures in art. This self-portrait helped establish her as an accomplished artist in her own right, separate from her male counterparts like Frans Hals, whom she was often associated with.
This painting also shows Leister's ability to blend realism and charm. Her use of light and texture, as well as her expressive, approachable demeanor, suggests both technical mastery and personality, highlighting her as an artist who is confident in her place within the competitive world of Dutch art. Leister's confidence took her far in her career, and she managed to change the way a lot of male artists at the time look at women in their fields.
Flash forward in history, and we are introduced to Mary Cassatt, an influential American artist and a key figure in the French Impressionist movement. She was most known for her depictions of the private and domestic experiences of women and children in everyday life. This next piece we will look at is one of her more influential and allegorical pieces.
Made in 1905, Woman with a Sunflower is one of Cassatt's most notable works because it reflects her ability to combine beauty and symbolism. Here we see a woman with a large sunflower attached to her dress and a toddler sitting on her lap. As with many of her works, the subjects are taught in a quiet interaction with their surroundings, exhibiting Cassatt's tendency to focus on the intimate worlds of women. As an artist who loved adding symbolism to her work, there is, of course, a message behind that central sunflower. Since 1896, the sunflower had been the official symbol of the Women's Suffrage Association. By the time Cassatt made this painting, sunflowers had appeared on all kinds of promotional materials, such as pins and banners. Being a strong advocate for women's rights, Cassatt was unafraid of using her work to advance the cause. Woman with a Sunflower was among the 20 or so paintings she included in the 1915 exhibition to raise money for the suffrage campaign.
Cassatt's success as a woman in the male-dominated art world was groundbreaking. She overcame significant obstacles and gained recognition for her unique focus on female-centric and domestic life, a contrast to the more traditional subjects favored by many male contemporaries. As one of the few women to break into the modern art world, Cassatt's legacy is truly significant. Her work not only expanded the scope of what was considered appropriate subject matter for women artists, but also helped redefine the portrayal of women in art. Through her success, she paved the way for future generations of women artists to challenge traditional gender norms in the art world.
Only 54 years later, an artist by the name of Remedios Varo created the last piece we will be looking at today.
Varo was a Spanish-Mexican surrealist artist, and in 1959 she created this piece, Banqueros en Acción, or Bankers in Action. It's a notable example of her unique style, which mixes the mysticism of surrealism and her personal fascination for alchemy, science, and the arcane. In this piece, Varo portrays a group of bankers in a very unconventional way. Rather than looking like typical humans, the figures appear slightly mechanical, with exaggerated and distorted features. The painting is often interpreted as a critique of the power that financial institutions can have in society. Varo's bankers are depicted in a very robotic way, emphasizing how impersonal and detached the financial world can be. Like many of her works, Banqueros en Acción also hints at themes of transformation and mystical processes. Through her surreal and symbolic style, she encourages viewers to think critically about the role money and power can play in both society and individual lives.
In 1936, Remedios Varo moved from her home in Spain to Paris in hopes of liberation from academic painting and family expectations. There, she became involved with a group of more avant-garde and surrealist thinkers and artists. Shortly after World War II started, she faced fascism firsthand as she was arrested for being a Spanish refugee. Eventually, Varo was able to escape and flee to Mexico with her friends and fellow artists. Varo's work from this period reflects her trauma from war and displacement, but after deciding to stay in Mexico for good, her practice flourished. Her drawings and paintings began to explore otherworldly scenes where women were often depicted as the heroes of their stories. Remedios Varo devoted the rest of her life to her art and became incredibly successful. She continued to challenge gender norms in her work, depicting women in transformative, intellectual, and mystical roles. As a key figure in the Surrealist movement, Varo redefined femininity by portraying women not as passive subjects, but as active creators and thinkers.
From Lavinia Fontana's portraits to Remedios Varo's surreal visions, each of these women refused to be confined by the limitations of their time. They carved out spaces for themselves in a world that often sought to silence them. In doing so, they redefined not only what it meant to be an artist, but what it meant to be a woman. These four masterpieces are lasting symbols of resilience, creativity, and transformation, encapsulating the idea of the divine feminine. Thank you for coming along on this journey through the National Gallery of Art and exploring the divine feminine and exploration of women who shaped art history.